Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, the price of Bitcoin is making its way towards this extremely important line of resistance as the US stock market is revealing a massive new technical pattern that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about all of that and so much more later in the video. Definitely stick around. First of all, just giving you a quick update on the US stock market. This right here is the Nasdaq 100 index on the daily time frame. And so far, what we have seen today is the stock market initially opened up well above yesterday's daily candle close. And on top of that massive bounce outside of trading hours, we've also seen the stock market rise throughout the trading day so far, at least at the time of recording this video. So at least as of right now, just in the shorter term, the stock market is actually showing quite a bit of strength. And the only concern right here is that gap on the charts, because in case you don't already know, more often than not, when it comes to these gaps in the price action in the stock market, these gaps actually get filled more often than not. And so obviously if we have a gap below the price, that would suggest the price possibly coming back down to fill that gap. But other than that, so far, once again, this bounce is showing quite a bit of strength in the shorter term for the stock market. And this bounce in the stock market is coming at a perfect time, because just last Friday, the US stock market, specifically the Nasdaq 100 index and also the S&P 500 index, actually broke below the June low and closed the week below the June low. And so technically speaking, at that point, the US stock market obviously was not looking good, as it did close below the previous support level. But now that the US stock market has confirmed a lower low in the price action and is now experiencing a decent bounce from that lower low, if you're zooming out to the weekly time frame, this right here is actually the S&P 500 chart on the weekly time frame, but the Nasdaq 100 index on the weekly time frame is almost identical to this chart right here. And what we can see right now is obviously once again the lower low in the price action, but a massive higher low forming in the weekly RSI for both the S&P 500 index and the Nasdaq 100 index. So this of course is a massive bullish divergence on the weekly time frame. Now technically speaking, in order for this bullish divergence to actually be confirmed, we need to close this weekly candle in the green. So essentially we need to see this weekly candle close above around 3,600 for the S&P 500 index, or if you're looking at the Nasdaq 100 index, we need to close above around 11,000. And considering the fact that there's only another 3 days until this weekly candle close, and also considering the recent bounce in the stock market, as of right now, there is a pretty good chance that this weekly candle will close as a green weekly candle and confirm this weekly bullish divergence. But obviously we still need to technically wait for that confirmation at the end of the week. And if we do end up getting that confirmation at the end of the week, which would once again confirm this bullish divergence on the weekly time frame, then that would mean that we're due to see reduced bearish momentum on the weekly time frame for the US stock market as a technical signal. And more specifically, reduced bearish momentum after a bullish divergence like this usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action or a shorter term relief rally, which doesn't necessarily mean we're pumping back to new all-time highs based on this pattern alone, obviously. But as a technical pattern on the chart, this is bullish for the US stock market if we end up seeing that confirmation at the end of the week once again. And when you consider the fact that the US stock market and the crypto market are highly correlated, which means if the stock market crashes, we're likely going to see a crash in the crypto market, or if the stock market pumps, we're likely going to see a pump in the crypto market. And so what this massive bullish divergence on the weekly time frame for the US stock market means for crypto is of course a bullish signal for crypto if we see this confirm at the end of the week. But obviously technical signals on the chart are not the only things that can influence markets. For example, significant factors outside of the chart that can influence the market are things like inflation and the Fed. And speaking of that, coming up in just around 1 week from now, we have new CPI inflation data being released. And now the early expectations for this year-over-year inflation number in the US for when the new CPI data gets released are right now predicting that inflation year-over-year is either going to pretty much stay the same or have a slight drop in the year-over-year inflation rates. But as we move closer to this date, which by the way is on the 13th of October, that's when the new CPI numbers will be released, these early predictions can actually change between now and then. And as we move closer to that day, obviously obviously I'll keep you updated on all of this in these videos and in real time on my Twitter, link down below. But anyway, getting into the Bitcoin part of this video, this right here is the daily Bitcoin chart, and obviously as you can see here, the price of Bitcoin is clearly following the US stock market with the recent bounce from the local lows. And like I just said earlier, for the US stock market, this bounce also for Bitcoin came at almost a perfect time because it pretty much saved the daily Bitcoin RSI from breaking below this upward trending line of support. And so all we ended up seeing was a simple retest of this support line, but we never actually confirmed a break below it, which would have cancelled this previous bullish divergence. But considering the fact we only saw a retest, that was only a sign of this bullish divergence potentially weakening, but it never actually broke. And right now, at the time of recording this video, the daily Bitcoin RSI is finally breaking above 50. It is showing some strength as it's breaking towards the upside of the RSI indicator. And speaking of these momentum indicators, looking at the daily Bitcoin MACD, we're starting to see a little bit more bullish momentum show up in the daily Bitcoin MACD. But with that being said, we're still not yet seeing any sort of bullish momentum like what we saw back here, for example, towards June and July. But even though we currently have less bullish momentum compared to back during June, July, these momentum indicators are still pointing in the more bullish direction, which is currently pointing towards a little bit of a shorter term relief in the price of Bitcoin. But with that being said, technically speaking, the trend on the daily time frame is still technically a bearish trend with lower highs and lower lows. And so until we start to see a break above some of these previous highs, we can't exactly flip overly bullish on the trend, at least as of right now, even though we could be due to see a little bit more of a shorter term bullish relief according to these price oscillators. That doesn't necessarily mean the bearish trend has fully been broken. And if you zoom out to the 3-day Bitcoin chart, right now the price of Bitcoin is forming a massive falling wedge pattern, and the last time this happened on the 3-day time frame was back during the middle of last year, which is where we also saw the last massive bullish divergence on the 3-day Bitcoin charts. Because obviously, as you can see back then, the price of Bitcoin in the 3-day candle closes was forming lower lows, while the RSI on the 3-day time frame was forming higher lows like it is at the moment. And in fact, right now, the 3-day Bitcoin RSI is currently testing this massive descending line of resistance that has been holding down the 3-day Bitcoin RSI ever since the beginning of last year. And so this is definitely a significant line of resistance to pay attention to. And obviously it would be a very bullish signal if we do actually see a confirmed break above this level of resistance in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. But obviously as of right now, we have not yet seen a confirmed break above this significant level of resistance. So right now we just need to be patient because we haven't yet seen any confirmation for a break to the upside or to the downside as of right now in the 3-day Bitcoin RSI. And the same can also be said about the price action on the 3-day time frame as well, because we have this support line coming into play at around 18,000 approximately, and this important line of resistance sitting at around 21,000. And so once again, a confirmed break below around 18,000 would basically signal the next major leg to the downside, but on the flip side, a confirmed break above 21,000 would potentially signal more of a bullish relief about to play out. And for any of the Bitcoin traders out there, we can actually make money no matter what direction the price breaks, whether we break resistance and confirm more of a relief, or we break support and confirm the next leg to the downside. Either way, we can make money with either a short or a long, for as long as we really know the price levels that we're comfortable with entering the trade and some potential take profit price targets in either scenario. And if you've watched my videos over the last few days, I covered the bearish scenario. If we do actually confirm a break below support, I talked about a technical price target to the downside in that case. But we also need to consider the bullish scenario because it is technically a real possibility. And so in that scenario, if we do actually confirm a break above around 21,000, then first of all, I'll be looking towards this previous high sitting at around 23,000. And that there would be another key level to break above for the price of Bitcoin, because obviously if we break above the previous high, then that would confirm a higher high, which is a first strong signal of a trend reversal. And then if the price of Bitcoin breaks above around 23,000, then I'll be looking closer towards 25,000 at this high that we formed throughout the middle of August. And that is where we could find some significant resistance for the price of Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin breaks above 25k, then that would be extremely bullish, because that would actually confirm a massive W pattern here and also a massive higher higher low on these larger timeframes. And so in that bullish scenario, looking at one of the first technical price targets for this falling wedge pattern, that would be sitting closer towards around $30,000 per Bitcoin. And obviously, based on these previous significant levels of support, we do have a lot of confluence at around $30,000 per Bitcoin. And at the same time as that, if you're looking at the Fibonacci retracement tool from all-time high down to the June low, the 38.2% Fibonacci level of resistance on the logarithmic chart is sitting at almost exactly $30,000 per Bitcoin. But it is important to understand that this scenario, as of right now, is not yet confirmed. We haven't yet even seen a break above 21,000. And so right now, we cannot flip too bullish, at least not yet. And once again, I would only start to flip more bullish again on these larger timeframes if we start to see first a break above 21,000, but more importantly, a break above this previous high at around 23,000. But anyway, this is all talking about the much larger moves in the market that usually play out over at least multiple weeks, sometimes multiple months. And so if we want to find out what could happen in the shorter term, as in over the next few days or so, we need to look at smaller timeframes like the 4-hour Bitcoin chart. And right now, at the time of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin after the recent bounce is running into some horizontal level of resistance at around 20.3K. And on top of that, the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI is getting very close to overbought territories, which does technically mean we're starting to get a little bit too overheated in the immediate short term. So we could be due to see a bit of a short-term cool-off sometime soon. But with that being said, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin MACD, right now, this is finally starting to show some more momentum. And of course, it is bullish momentum. And so if this is enough momentum in the short term to potentially push the price of Bitcoin above 20.3K, then in that scenario, I'll be looking towards around 21,000 as the next important level of resistance. And obviously, this golden pocket level of resistance at 21K is coming in confluence with the massive descending line of resistance on the 3-day time frame that I just talked about. And so $21,000 per Bitcoin is definitely an important level of resistance for the price of Bitcoin. But once again, between now and then, there is also this 20.3K level of resistance, which does still provide the possibility of a possible rejection. And in case you're wondering what my personal trading strategy is for Bitcoin right now, as of right now, I still have my grid bot open in this sideways price range, which is still making a lot of profit as the price chops around sideways. And if you have no idea what a grid bot is, then stick around to the end of this video. That will be important to know. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this right here is the daily Ethereum chart. And right now, the price of ETH is still in this short-term pause within the bearish trend. So technically speaking, we haven't yet broken this bearish trend on the daily time frame, as I said, for Bitcoin. And now, if you're looking at the daily Ethereum price oscillators, as of right now, they're actually showing a little bit less bullish momentum compared to the daily Bitcoin price oscillators. But with that being said, technically speaking, they're still currently pointing slightly more in the bullish direction compared to the bearish direction. So technically speaking, Ethereum, as of right now on the daily time frame, is still in this short-term relief within the bearish trend, but it's just showing less bullish momentum compared to Bitcoin at the moment. But other than that, nothing much has changed on the daily time frame for Ethereum over the last 1 day. So getting straight into the shorter term, this right here is the 4-hour Ethereum chart. And right now, the price of ETH is still in this choppy sideways price range. So once again, my short-term trading strategy as of right now for Ethereum is to simply keep my grid bot active in this sideways price range. And now, considering the fact that the price of ETH has had a little bit less bullish momentum in the short term compared to Bitcoin, the 4-hour RSI isn't as close to overbought territories. So technically speaking, this shows a little bit more room to the upside for Ethereum in the short term compared to Bitcoin. Although with that being said, if you're looking at the last bullish push for the price of ETH in the short term, which by the way, at that time right there, we saw the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI enter into overbought territories. But the 4-hour Ethereum RSI, on the other hand, did not enter into overbought territories at all. We actually turned around before the RSI even got into overbought territories. And so as of right now, simply based on the price action and these price oscillators, right now Ethereum is looking more neutral above anything else in the short term. So that basically means we're not exactly looking overly bullish or bearish in the short term right now. And as for some short-term levels of support and resistance, our immediate important level of resistance for Ethereum in the short term is sitting at around 1.4K, and the immediate important level of support for the price of ETH in the short term is sitting at around 1270 to 1280. And if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is going down, up, or chopping around sideways like it is at the moment, then make sure to check out these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left of your screen shows you how to make money if the price is trending up or down, and the video in the bottom left of your screen shows you how to make money with those grid bots if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next video.